You there! Outsiders, halt!
Who's there?
An armored man approaches you. He has a tall, muscular build and a determined expression in his eyes. Just one look, and you can tell he's fought in his fair share of battles. Although he's trying his best to conceal his current state, his uneven gait and the sweat dripping down his forehead make it obvious that he's been wounded and is in serious pain.
I'm the captain of the guard. I saw you sneaking around the city earlier, so I'll only ask this once. State your purpose, or it's off to the dungeons for the lot of you.
Wow, it's been a while since someone's been this suspicious of us.
I said talk, not whisper between yourselves.
Have you ever heard of the Marchese Hunters?
Marachose hunters? Ha! That fairy tale, you mean? What, you expect me to believe you're one of them?
While everyone is talking, you begin to carefully observe the captain's mannerisms. Every so often, you see him glance toward a particular direction, with a pained expression on his face, as if an invisible thread is tying him to an unknown place. As you follow his gaze, you vaguely recall that the location he seems fixated on is known for its difficult terrain. Any battle that breaks out in a place like that is likely to be prolonged and devastating.
Is that where the monsters are? Outside the forest in the area with the difficult terrain?
The captain is taken aback by your sudden question. Still, his shock only lends credence to your theory.
You're looking to fight the monsters?
Well, we're Marchese Hunters after all. You could say that's basically our job.
He shakes his head and continues to regard you with skepticism. In the end, he decides to inform you of the locations where the monsters have appeared.
Those monsters aren't easy to deal with. But if you insist on going, I won't stop you either. I just hope all the guards will be able to come back to their families alive. I wish you the best of luck.
Based on what the captain said, the monster should be right up ahead. Let's go. Hopefully we're not too late.
As you approach the battlefield, you see numerous people lying by the side of the road. They appear to be dressed like guards. Their faces are filled with desperation and terror. Some are screaming and cursing in vain, as if still trying to banish the monstrosities they saw from their minds. A few of the wounded look up at you in shock and disbelief.
Quick, leave this place. Turn around and don't look back,
they yell.
This is the place he mentioned, right?
You see broken iron swords scattered all around you, and downed trees riddled with terrifying claw marks. All the signs point to one thing. A truly devastating battle just took place here.
Be on your guard, everyone. The monsters might still be around.
Before you can finish your sentence, you hear rustling sounds from the surrounding bushes. The monsters have emerged. They close in on you without fear. You get the impression that, in their bloodthirsty eyes, you're just another meal for them to devour.
A little help here! This thing wants to eat Paimon!
Your battle round begins now.
Time to shine! Yoo-hoo!
A round of applause!
The next battle round begins now.
Yeah! Go! Yeah!
Attack! That this one's got your name on it! Fellow warfare, I guess!
The monsters let out a terrifying roar of anger and resentment before dissipating into thin air.
Oh, thank goodness it's over.
We're lucky the Marashose Hunter class came with all those preset skill points. Otherwise, we would have been in some real trouble.
I never knew the Fatometer even determines the amount of damage you inflict. If you get unlucky, isn't it just game over right then and there?
That's part of the fun. The uncertainty of fate is what gives these games their appeal.
Just as you begin to celebrate your victory, a suspicious lump on the ground catches your attention.
A suspicious lump? Wait, could it be the thing that appears after every battle?
I walk up to it, crouch down, and begin to carefully examine it. I've still got my right glove on, so it should be fine for me to touch it, right?
As you investigate the mound, you discover that the exposed portion appears to be made of wood. With the monsters gone, the small protrusion now awaits your discovery, poking out of the ground like a shy flower bud.
Whoa, it's a treasure chest!
With everyone's help, you successfully excavate the wooden chest from the ground, even without opening it. You can tell from the mora and jewels scattered around the chest that it must contain quite the fortune.
Makes sense. We worked hard for this. Let's open it and we can share what's inside.
I can understand your excitement, Paimon, but think about it. Doesn't it seem like there are people out there who need this treasure more than us?
Yeah. Think about all the people suffering in the capital, or all those guards who got hurt fighting the monsters. Wouldn't it be better if we gave the treasure to them?
Wait, is that how it works? Paimon thought since we were the ones to dig it up, we could just take it for ourselves.
Well, let's put it this way. Any decision you make during a role-playing game can impact the future course of the story.
But would the people really believe us? It's hard enough for us to prove we're Marashose hunters. What if they think we procured the treasure illegally? They might get even more suspicious of us.
That's definitely something we should consider. Maybe we can come up with an explanation in advance.
Well, if donating it could cause that much trouble, why don't we use it to buy some gear and fill up on good food? Then we'll be ready to fight even more bad guys.
Looks like you're facing a difficult choice once again. Well, it's getting late. Why don't we call it a day for now?
Wow, where did the time go?
I'm not sure if it's because I'm having so much fun with you all or because the story is particularly enticing, but I feel like I could almost keep going.
Here, here. Ooh, how about we play through the night?
I'm not sure I'll have enough energy for that.
Yeah, that won't work for me either. Lynette will give me an earful if I get home too late.
I understand how you feel, Navia, but we have to change venues for the next part of the story anyway.
Huh? Another location?
There's a special note for the GM at the end of this section that says to proceed to an indoor set for the next part of the script.
Whoa, they really pulled out all the stops for this new script.
Well, even if we end the game for the day, we can still stay a little longer and hear Cloran finish her story, right? Paimon wants to hear more about the history of the hunters.
Something tells tells me you just want to finish the free desserts before we break for the day.
That's just a coincidence, okay? Besides, to Paimon, not finishing free food feels even worse than having to buy your own. And anyway, Paimon really does want to hear more about Cloran's master.
Well,
It's nothing. I appreciate the concern, but it's all in the past. It won't do any harm to share these things now. My earliest memories are of living with Master. According to her, she saved me from certain people of ill repute. My birth parents had left me behind some time before that.
What a heavy beginning for a life story.
Master was a fascinating individual, if inexperienced in the ways of raising children. My first ever toy was a short sword. Although I suppose it wasn't so much a toy as something Master removed from her waist and handed to a noisy child in need of distraction.
Oh, wait, so she handed an actual sword to a child? Isn't that dangerous? Did you...
Of course I did. I cut my palm and bled quite a lot. But Master was not concerned. She just stood there and casually lectured me about it. See, that's what you get for not holding the sword properly, she told me. She then crouched down next to me and said, "Give me your hand. I'll teach you to bandage this wound. After that, it's time to learn how to truly hold a blade."
Excuse me for asking this, Cloran, but how old were you exactly when all this happened?
Probably around, 3, give or take.
3? Isn't that when most kids are still struggling to hold a fork?
As I said, Master was rather inexperienced in the ways of raising children. She believed trial and error was the best way to teach a child what they're capable of.
I'm not so sure this is a question of experience.
I didn't see anything wrong with her ways at the time. And anyway, children don't get to choose how they're raised. Oh, she did bring me back a pet from Liyue once. It was a Geovishap hatchling.
A Geovishap hatchling? For a pet? That seems even more dangerous.
What she said was this: "Make sure to get along, you two. If you really can't agree on something, just settle it with a fight. Whoever loses is the real pet."
And how old were you when this happened?
5.
Well, did you win?
No, I lost.
So you're saying you actually became the Geovishap's pet?
Yes, but only for a week. By the end of that week, I defeated it in combat, and we've shared a cordial relationship ever since.
That really doesn't sound like the kind of childhood someone should have.
Later on, I gradually understood that Master most likely didn't know any other way to raise a child. She was a Marachose hunter, but I never heard her bring up her own parents. Thanks to her, I learned how to navigate the forest by the age of 6, and could hunt monsters in the wild by myself the year after that. Even though the training she subjected me to was strict, she always made sure to take me traveling when she had the time. We met many of her friends during those days. That was also how I met Mr. Callis and his family.
I still remember the first time we met. You were too scared to join our picnic and hid behind Ms. Petronia the whole time.
I still hadn't really met many children my age at that time, so I didn't know how to interact with others.
After that, though, you started coming over a lot. You loved challenging people to shooting competitions, remember? I don't think many members of the Spina ever beat you in one of those.
I had a lot of fun during those days.
I enjoyed them too. Oh, do you remember that one time we went exploring around the Spina together? We overheard Papa call your master Fontaine. We tried to pretend like we never heard anything, but you nearly let it slip that one time.
Protector of justice. Oh, wait, you mean that vigilante hero from 20 years ago? The one who is always active at night?
Yep, that would be her. She often would put on a black cloak and go out at night. I never knew where she went or what she was doing. Until, like Navia said, we overheard the truth from Mr. Callis that night.
20 years ago, huh? I still remember the guards leaving all kinds of witness reports about her on Nervalette's desk.
My apologies.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. You had nothing to do with it. And anyway, everything she did was for a good cause. Although, calling herself the protector of order was a bit much. Especially when she deliberately operated outside the law.
Huh? When did the protector of justice become the protector of order?
Oh, she had a bunch of code names. I heard she would just come up with a name on the spot whenever she was asked. Later on, she probably got sick of answering those questions and decided to stick to just two. The Protector of Justice and the Protector of Order.
That sounds like her, all right. I bet she forgot which of the two she'd use by the time she got back each night.
Well, she certainly sounds like a fascinating individual. With her strong sense of justice, it's no surprise her student followed in her footsteps.
It's true. I always wanted to become like her. Someone powerful, independent, and with a strong sense of conviction. But... She suddenly disappeared the night I turned 10 years old.
Disappeared? What happened?
I have no idea. She didn't even leave a note. I was never able to find out where she went. That night, I was celebrating my birthday at Navia's house. But Master never came to pick me up. When I returned home on my own, it was to an empty house. When she still didn't appear after a few days, I went to Mr. Callis's house to ask about her whereabouts. But he only shook his head.
Papa probably didn't know either. I know he sent a few people to investigate the matter in secret, but they never found any credible leads.
Don't worry, I understand. To be perfectly honest, given Master's personality and way of doing things, it all made a lot of sense. If I had to guess, I'd say she probably used it as an opportunity to force me to become independent. Just like how, when a litter of kittens reaches a certain age, the mother willingly leaves them behind.
Were you upset, Clorinde?
I was at first, but not anymore. I don't believe Master would suddenly disappear for no reason. There must have been something she just had to do.
Well, despite everything, you still managed to follow in her footsteps and become the greatest champion duelist in all of Fontaine. You're practically a living symbol of law and justice.
I suspect my position would be far too by the books for her. Master always did whatever she pleased. But you're right. I suppose I do take after her in some ways.
Who knew Clorinde had such an interesting past? I never had the chance to ask her about it before. And I wonder... if Clorinde's master were the champion duelist back then, would that duel against Mr. Callis have gone differently? Oh no. Judging by the atmosphere, Clorinde and Navia are probably thinking something similar. The mood just got super awkward all of a sudden.
Well, anyway... would you look at the time? It's getting dark, so we should probably call it a day for real this time.
I had a great time today, Miss Clorinde. Thank you for being our GM.
Anytime.
The script was good, but I've got to say, your childhood stories were even better. Hey, you should tell us more about that fight against the Geo-Bishop sometime. Maybe your master was onto something.
You could be right.
What does she mean, onto something? I certainly don't know any 5-year-olds who want to fight a bishop in their spare time. Guess I'll head back as well. I need to save my energy if I want to continue enjoying the story tomorrow.
You're that excited to hear about my fight with the bishop?
I was talking about the script.
Just between the two of us, could you tell me what it was like to be the Geovishop's pet?
It was nothing special, really. Geovishops don't understand the concept of a pet. So basically, it just headbutted me whenever I entered its territory.
And that...
Yeah, it hurt. What, something you want to experience for yourself?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks.